world of YouTube, Archie here, and I am walking down a path I walk every day to walk the pug. And like 5 days ago, a few days ago, I came down here and I was walking the pug. And I had a little encounter happen to me of some sort. But before I get to that, I want to mention that at that time, and before that time, the other day, there's a video, if you want to check it out, American Indian woman suicide is the title. And in that video, at the end of the video, as soon as I go to close up, and due to me finding this book a couple days ago, ravaging through a house I cleaned out, and this is the Observer's Book of Birds, as you can see. And no sooner did I open up this book, and the first few pages, as you can see, very thin, and here's the rest of the book. But started off with crows and then ended up here with a raven. Now, this raven, it says down at the bottom here that noises it makes is a grunt trill, pig-like grunt, perk, or a pruck, P-R-U-K, or a deep croak. So I have no doubt in my mind that the bird I saw that day, and you know, just by picking up this book the other day also, and seeing that bird in that video a few months ago, it's just now dawned on me, due to the fact of what happened here. I looks up the raven, you know, just because of all this finding the book and wondering why the raven is coming out by me over there by the Indian suicide, you know, in Templeton, which was, the story goes, of a young princess, and it's called Princess Rock. And she killed herself because her father wanted to marry an ugly chief. So obviously things didn't go well because she was in love with a warrior. So that day came that she was to marry this chief, and off the rock she went. No, I mean, in the second time being there and seeing that huge raven pass by me, it was just like, wow. And I mean, I looked up a little bit on ravens and stuff, and yes, they do happen to dwell around where spirits dwell. They hang around there. But not only they do that, they also do something else. When visited by a raven, which I was, which that thing circled me in that area on Berry Road in Templeton, Mass. As soon as you see that raven, and the totem, I believe, is in an article I put up, and I'll be putting up in my other places, but if you see it, you know, read it, and it, I mean, you can read it for the truth of it, and it says that being, you know, as a raven or near a raven, or whatever, visited by a raven, is what I got out of it. Is it pretty much, it's telling you that you are starting to be a communicator for the dead. And I've been joking with this for people. My wife saying, hey, I'm an advocate for the dead. And now, this article comes up due to this book I found, due to the visit of the raven at the Indian suicide area. And now what really made me look this up also was what happened to me here a few days ago. And as I was standing here and the pug was doing his business, I was looking down right here at this spot. And as I'm looking down, no fucking lie, you can believe it or not, I don't care if you're non-believers, people non-believers better start believing. Because if this didn't happen, I wouldn't have been looking up on the Raven more than what I did and found out what I did. And I'm gonna have to say, from what I've seen, I mean, there are birds out. It is spring, I understand this. You can hear them chirping. I see nests all around in these trees. But when I looked down here the other day, I seen a big, huge black shadow just drift by. And I mean, it was the shape of a bird. It was shaped as a raven. But it didn't dawn on me, later on in the day after looking up pictures of a raven. I mean, it had a sharp beak, it had pointy wings, and it just swift right on by. And as soon as I seen that happen, I immediately said, "Where the fuck are you?" And I looked right up, and I'm looking over here in this area. I see nothing. You mean you would think you'd still see it passing on by through the trees, and I just stared and I looked and I kept looking for at least 5-10 minutes before I even left this place, and I see nothing, just the shadow that drifted across me over my head in this area. Now, mind you that I live in a place that used to be a meadow. I literally talked to the manager of the place, and as far as he knows, because he's a newer person here, he said this place used to be a meadow before it was, a housing complex. And what I've looked up on Indians used to hunt in the meadows due to the animals, living and eating the grass. Not only that, this used to be all a brook. All the way up until a mound of rock I see over here that used to be, to my conclusion of finding and looking up for weir fishing. So I mean, and like I said, the raven is a spiritual bird that people think is death. When you see a raven, I've heard people thinking, "Oh my God, someone's gonna die." You're not gonna die when you see a raven. Actually, this article I found said that it's a magical thing when a raven passes by you, and you will be a communicator for the dead. They will speak to you and come to you, and so I'm putting this all into one conclusion, that everything that has been happening to me, noises, orbs, growls, they're communicating. Due to the point of that raven, I mean, I've had it all communicating, but it was a sign that I am actually something like an advocate for the dead. It's a lot to put on my plate right now, and I mean, like I said, people can believe it or not, but I feel as if I opened up some doors this past couple years. Then again, I can't even say that. I've opened up doors since I was a kid. 5 years old, 4 years old. I remember, like I said in the video I did about a kid that drowned in my backyard, 2013. I talked to the air police chief secretary that remembers it, and I don't even know the woman. And I called her and asked her. I was calling to talk to the chief, thinking maybe the chief was still in charge from that time, but that secretary was there. She remembers. And I really totally freaked that woman out when I told her the dream I had, and probably her skin is still crawling to this day. She didn't have no date or year of that, but she remembers. And I don't think they're going to tell me anyways too much about it because of the simple fact that, yeah, it was a mental patient that escaped. And to try and explain that to the proper authorities or the town people, civilians, thinking, oh my God, a mental patient escaped. I don't think they didn't want to let too much of that info get out, because if he would have harmed somebody, well, hey, there you go. But came to me in my dream looking for help. So there's been a lot of freaky things happen to me lately. And now I found out about the raven and why I seen it that day. And it must have been a spirit, dead raven. And I heard and looked up that they hang around in pine trees. And as you can see, pine trees. So whatever may be and what's dwelling out there, and all this stuff just popping up, like I said, randomly, because it must be trying to tell me something. And I'm trying to see what I can do to get it fully functional of how I can use it all the time, but I don't think it's going to happen that way. But it's all coming into place, slowly but surely. Believe it or not. And seeing that shadow that day, I thought it was a freaking hawk, to be honest with you, because I thought it was going to swoop up the pug. Because them hawks, I've seen videos on YouTube, you know, picking up does, swooping down and just clinching right on their back, and that's immediately what I thought it was at first. But it wasn't, because when I looked up, there was nothing there. And the closest hawks that I've seen around in this area was out in like Shirley Harvard way, in Harvard, Mass, on the side of a road eating carcass. And I ain't seen no hawks around here. And I'm out here pretty much most of the day because I'm chasing kids. My kids, you know, when they run out the door, or I'm walking the pug. And lately I've been keeping an eye open for stuff. And I'll tell you right now, about a few days ago, I saw the American bald eagle over by Wachusett Mountain, heading over the reservoir, obviously going to hunt for some fish. I tried stopping and getting a picture, but that sucker was hauling ass. Oh man, I've been dying to get a picture of him ever since I've heard they've been in these towns, so I'm keeping an eye open for that. But there you go. I'm about to wonder if birds sense Indians, because back in them days, the Indians used to, with some birds, hold them sacred. And like I said, the raven is one of them. The crows, they're so much less, more of a, you know, they ain't nothing just because they're a carnivore and eat dead animals. People ain't got to worry about seeing them birds and saying, oh, someone's going to die. Some people think that, but I don't know. Just some freaky shit going on with me, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around things. And this is going to be one of them now. But I'm moving forward. I'm still hunting my dead. Sometime next month, the month of May, I am heading out, since it is 2016, the anniversary of King Philip, the great Chief Metacom. And I'm going to Bristol, Rhode Island. Let's see what I get out in that area. But I'm going to Mount Hope Farm. I've already talked to the people. I just got to give them a day when I'm coming out there. They're going to bring me right to the exact place where King Philip was killed. I'm going to go pay my respects and give a piece of history that was, in my eyes, misspoken of. I want the truth, and I want it how it's meant to be. Until then, YouTube, many more freaky encounters or whatever I can bring you. Oh man. Out.